health.com/heart.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning. Now in our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
As the chief buffet officer here at Pizza Ranch, I get all kinds of buffet questions. Here's one from Cole.
Is there a real cactus in your cactus bread?
Great question, Cole. No, there is no cactus in our cactus bread, just sweet cinnamony streusel. It's on our buffet every day, along with pizza, chicken, ice cream, and all your other favorites. Even better, at least for your parents, kids eat free on Tuesday nights. And don't worry, Cole, there's no coal in our coleslaw either.
Pizza Ranch, everyone's favorite buffet.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solution. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
At Southeast Community College, community is our middle name. Our continuing education classes offer personal interest, traffic safety and licensing, online learning, and adult education classes across Southeast Nebraska or online in your own home. Learn pottery or floral design, take a computer course, learn Spanish, how to start writing a book, or Air Fryer 101. See the full schedule of continuing education classes online at southeast.edu/continuing. SCC, your path to possible.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
I'm Karen Carr. I've been a realtor for 31 years. When I made a company change 12 years ago, I chose Lincoln First Realty, now NP Dodge. It's the oldest independently owned realty company in the country. Since becoming NP Dodge, we've continued our tradition of community involvement. Our management and staff are always available to offer support in marketing, technology, social media, and educational opportunities.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all. O Street Carpet. 1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Live from the heart of Lincoln, America. Welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hello, hello. Welcome in to the Daily Nebraskan Show. I'm Ben Droz, one of the sports editors here at the Daily Nebraskan. I am joined here by both assistant editors at the Daily Nebraskan. First time we've had both of you on the show at the same time. Anthony Rubik and Marissa Cross, both to my left. Guys, how are you doing tonight? Trying to stay awake. It's a little late.
Doing good. Excited for this.
Marissa, how about you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I've been up since 7 a.m., so it's been a long day, but I'm happy to be here. Yep.
Long day, long day. Well, we kind of want to start the show off with endowment for Daily Nebraskan because it's kind of a big deal for us. So, Marissa, if you kind of want to take that, kind of explain what endowment is and what the theme for endowment is this year.
Yeah, absolutely. So the endowment project is a yearly newsroom-wide project that the Daily Nebraskan does. And so we pick a theme for each year or each spring, and then each section comes up with their own stories surrounding that theme. So last year was accountability, and then this year is health on campus. I think we're trying to specify that a little bit more like universities' impact on health and how they help students with health related things. And so the sports section has three main stories right now. We may combine a few. We'll just kind of have to see, but we have three stories surrounding health. So one is about mental health of student athletes and the resources that they have for their mental health. And I think some of our reporters are going to talk to some student athletes and just see their struggles with mental health and how they're being helped, and maybe something with social media and like their impact, the social media's impact on their mental health. Then the second story is about how student athletes deal with injury in midseason. And we may do kind of a day in a life type thing where we follow an athlete and see what recovery and processes they go to get over injuries. And then the last one, the last one is about the IPC center and the rec center, which is like the recovery injury prevention center for. I think students can use it, but we're going to focus on how club athletes utilize it, such as hockey and soccer and all of those competitive sports. And apparently it's about like at a D1 level, they have a lot of good athletic trainers and a lot of resources there. So I think we're going to kind of explore that. So those are our three main stories. Hopefully we're going to have our reporters on later to kind of explain their stories more. And as they get into it, they're going to explain a little bit more what they're doing and who they're talking to. But that's kind of the gist of it.
Yeah, it's just been there's been a lot of great ideas from our section this endowment process so far. I remember last year I was kind of new to the DN at that time, but I remember Marissa, you kind of really carried the accountability endowment project for the sports section last year. But this year, our whole staff really just came in with a bunch of ideas. And while we mentioned those three like main kind of themes, everyone had some ideas that fit under one of those umbrellas. So I'm really excited to see the work they put in, and I think it's going to be a really good project.
Yeah, it's definitely, when I first came in the DN, I was kind of confused. I was like, endowment. I was like, why are we doing this? But it's kind of a way it's supposed to be a way, for us, collaborate on stories. Because a lot of times, it's just like gamers that we do by ourselves, and, we write a feature and it's just us, going out and interviewing just the one person or two people that we do, and we don't really work with any other writers. This is kind of a way that we can interact with the writers on our staff, so we can, besides the weekly meetings that we do, get to know each other and work, because other writers, for like Lincoln Journal Star, Omaha World Herald, a lot of time you have to work with multiple writers.
Oh yeah.
So after that, we kind of want to, this first segment, touch on men's basketball game, not the finish that Husker fans were hoping for, but another road game, another road loss. That's kind of been the theme for Nebraska this year, and it just continued on Saturday. I'm going to put it as nicely as I possibly can. They kind of got pummeled on Saturday, lost to Maryland 73-51. Kind of a beatdown for Husker fans. Anthony, what was kind of your biggest, and I guess also Marissa, what were kind of your biggest takeaways, just even watching the game live or just looking at the stats after the game? What's kind of your biggest takeaway from the game?
Yeah, the road struggles just continue for Nebraska. I mean, I've said it before, it's a night and day difference, Nebraska at home and Nebraska on the road. And there's just a little bit of everything this game for them as just the mishaps. I mean, they started out with a 12-2 lead. They started out hot. They got that double-digit lead that they've had in a lot of the past road games, only for them to immediately lose it by going on a scoring drought. And 18 turnovers. Again, just very sloppy basketball. They were out rebounded by Maryland. It was just not a good night for them, not a good day. They shot somewhat well from deep, but so did Maryland, which reminiscent of the Wisconsin game. But this team just looked uninspired, I think. I mean, this was probably their most brutal showing in any of these road games, which is saying a lot. with the past ones.
I would definitely say Rutgers or Minnesota is probably the worst performance so far this year. I mean, Maryland's up there, but the Rutgers game, man, that one was just hard to watch. At least Maryland on like one team was playing good. Maryland was playing good. The Rutgers game, both teams just were not very good. Maryland, one of the worst 3-point shooting teams in the country, shot. Let me look at this. 42%. I'm not misreading that. Yeah, one of the worst 3-point shooting teams shot 42% against Nebraska. They were 11 of 26. Nebraska did technically shoot better than them from deep. They shot 47%. They were 10 of 21. But the problem was they weren't attacking the paint. And you can mainly tell that because Moss only took 5 shots. He was 2 for 5, scored 5 points. Moss, after having a historic night, a career night against Ohio State earlier in the week, 34 points. He was 6 for 8 from the 3-point line. He has 5 points. See, that's the thing that confuses me the most. How does Nebraska go from, force feeding Moss because he was on such a roll to not even getting him the ball enough to where he can get going?
Yeah, it's just they got to find some kind of consistency in this all. I mean, just the whole game, Nebraska hit only 17 field goals on the night. Only 7 of them were inside the arc. They hit 10 threes, 7 everything else. And besides Wilcher, who at 14 points off the bench, 5 of 7 from the field, he was the only guy who really was who really just offered something for offense. I know, again, the 3-point shooting was all right, but it's kind of mind-boggling that they don't go inside more. I know they're an undersized team, but you see guys like Mass have 34 points. While he did hit 6 3-pointers, a lot of those were hard buckets he earned on the inside. You have guys like Josiah Alec. Juwan Gary's out, obviously, but you still have guys like Keisei Tominaga can score inside. Bryce Williams can score inside. And they just didn't attack the rim at all. And I think a lot of that comes from them being down early after the first 5 minutes of the game. Once Maryland kind of got that big lead, they were trying to shoot themselves out of it, but you still just got to play more consistent down the stretch.
Marissa, I kind of want to throw a question to you. So Nebraska, obviously the road struggles have been very easy to tell. They're 1-5 on the road. At home, they've looked like one of the best teams in the nation. Do you feel like, that maybe, I mean, obviously you haven't, you're not on the beat, so you haven't watched every single game, but do you feel like that's more of like a mental thing where, like there's just some kind of roadblock mentally that just won't allow them to, get over the hump on a road game and get a win? Or do you just feel like it's kind of just maybe been bad luck? Which way are you kind of leaning on that?
Yeah, that's a super good question. I don't know. I would say it's more of a mental block for them. Like Anthony was saying, they just didn't really look like they had much or like the usual like competitiveness. They just kind of seemed like they were, I don't even know what the right word is, but
Kind of going
like
with the emotions.
Yeah, just kind of going with the motions. And I know, like, just looking at Twitter and comments on things, that's what a lot of people notice too. And I think I don't know if they just have a different attitude going on road games. And there's a lot of teams that have been successful on the road. So, yeah, I think it's more of a mental thing that they need to figure out. I don't know really what it is because they have won on the road in the past. So I can't really like pinpoint anything specific. But I think they also kind of maybe lose some energy and momentum when they start to kind of fall back in the second half. Like with Minnesota and Rutgers, they had double-digit leads, and then they, started to lose
Fall
that,
apart,
and then the game completely just fell away from them. So I think that they kind of just lost some of that momentum after they, just start struggling and don't really have the, I guess, energy or whatever you want to call it to get the lead back.
Anthony, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I think that while like good teams win on the road, and I like to think that Nebraska is a good team. Obviously, it's one of their best seasons in recent memory by a landslide, but they've just always fell flat on the road. And I think a lot of that comes just mentally. I think PBA, especially this season, has been one of the best atmospheres, one of the best environments in the country, I think. Definitely in the Big Ten. And, when you're just watching Nebraska games, when the fans have their back, when they're cheering, that just kicks them into another gear. They feed off the fans, especially in the Purdue game. It was unbelievable to watch. I've never seen anything like that before. A team kind of rally behind, one steal, like one meaningless kind of steal, the fans would explode. And then that would just light this fire under Nebraska where they'd go attack the basket, get a tough layup the next time down the court. It's just, obviously that's not there on the road. And factor in other teams, especially when they get on these big leads, when they're up double digits. If they go on a little scoring drought and say Maryland or Rutgers goes on a run, ties it up, the fans, their home fans, are getting more and more into the game, which just makes it an even tougher battle for Nebraska. So, yeah, I think that I agree with what Marissa said. I think that it's very tough to pull out road games, but it's been more than a challenge for this team as they really just feed off that home crowd.
Yeah, I mean, when you look ahead, it's not going to get any easier. I mean, you play Wisconsin at home, so I mean, it's home. Maybe they can get that win. They've been really good at home. But then Illinois, number 14 ranked team in the nation, away. Northwestern, a team you barely beat at home, away. Before you play Michigan at home, which should be probably one of their easier games left on the schedule. Michigan has not been too great this year. So, I mean, looking ahead, and over this next 3-game stretch, which is one of the toughest stretches of this regular season, Wisconsin, Illinois, and the Northwestern, how many wins do you feel like this team needs to pull out of those 3? Do you think they need to win all 3, which would be very unlikely because 2 of them are on the road and they cannot win on the road? Or do you think it's 2-1? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that 2 would be great. I think it's wishful thinking Nebraska could win all 3, especially with 2 of them being on the road in 2 of the toughest environments in the Big Ten. But I think that they need at least 1 to kind of just keep them in this firm spot where they're a bubble team right now, but just pulling out one of these games, especially over Wisconsin or Illinois, would really do wonders for their tournament resume. I think that, again, I'm still holding on hope. I think they've had a lot of these stinkers on the road that maybe, one of these games, they kind of just group together from those losses, take everything they lost in that, kind of learn and build off it. Obviously, it's been 5 games on the road in the Big Ten that they've lost, so they have a lot of bulletin board material from that. But I think just if Nebraska wants to keep their spot as a contending team, not only just for a March Madness spot, but in the Big Ten, not saying regular season title, but a double bye in the Big Ten tournament, a top 4 seed in the conference. I think that this next stretch is going to really kind of make or break their season going forward, but you're going to want to have at least 1 win.
I mean, yeah, definitely for the Big Ten tournament, if they're trying to finish, top 4, they're probably going to have to get 2 of these.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I'm looking NCAA tournament, even if they could just get 1, they'd probably still be sitting pretty fine. Marissa, what do you think? They're 15-6 overall. Let's say they only win 1. They then go to 16 and they then go to 16-8. What's kind of your outlook if that's what happens? They win 1 of these next 2. Like, let's say they beat Northwestern and lost to both Illinois and Wisconsin, 2 ranked teams that are really good teams. So not bad losses, but you keep falling towards the middle of the pack of the Big Ten. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I agree with what Anthony said. I think this next stretch is super important, and I am confident that Nebraska could perform well on Thursday. I mean, like we've said, in the past, I don't think they're very consistent. Like, we can't say, oh, they're gonna definitely take this because it's at home. But I think they do have a good chance against Wisconsin. Illinois is gonna be hard, but I think if they can get another 2, I don't know, Michigan and maybe Wisconsin or something, some combination like that. I think that could be a good outcome and kind of set them up for success as long as everyone stays healthy, of course. But also with Juwan Gary continuing to be out too, that's a little tough.
Yeah, the Gary injury. Hopefully I'm thinking he should probably be back sometime in this next 3-game stretch. I mean, when the initial injury happened, Hoiberg said he was day to day. It's been over a week, so you got to feel like he's going to be coming back shortly. But again, it's probably one of those things where there's really no need to rush him back yet. It's not like this team is desperate for wins. Like, yes, wins help. Yes, it helps their positioning, but it's not like this next game's a make or break for their season. It's not like it's the Big Ten tournament where they need to make a run. Like, they probably can go by resting Gary, a few more games to make sure that he could stay healthy. But again, Nebraska, even though this next 3-game stretch worries me a lot, because if they only go, 1 or 2, or forbid 0-3 on this next stretch, if they go 1 or 2 or 0-3, they're just going to keep falling down the Big Ten rankings, because in the middle of the pack, it's just all the same record. Like, if you lose 2 in a row, you could easily be towards the bottom of the Big Ten standings. Like, that's not out of the realm of possibility. This team could go from, trying to contend for a top 4 spot in the conference to they're maybe one of the bottom 3 teams if they drop 3 straight.
Yeah, I think, again, these next 3 games are a very tough schedule for Nebraska, very tough draw. But really, I'm kind of looking at their schedule after this rough stretch of games. After the Northwestern game, very favorable schedule. You're playing all teams that are in the bottom of the Big Ten. You're playing Michigan twice, who is the worst team in the conference. You're playing Penn State, Rutgers again, this time at home. So you have that going for you. You're playing Minnesota again, this time at home. And then you're playing on the road at Ohio State. So I can definitely see, even if they go on a 3-game skid here, it's not like their schedule is this tough throughout the rest of the year. They enter a very winnable stretch. Now, will they have momentum going into that, where if they drop all 3 of these games? That would be a question. But I think if Nebraska is able to pull out at least one of these wins, they should be sitting good for maybe not the top 4 seed in the Big Ten, but they certainly wouldn't be in those horrible 11 through 14 seed first round games that Fred Hoiberg has just been stuck in throughout his time here.
See, my problem with that is, yes, like, technically, they should finish strong, which will be good for their NCAA tournament berth. Like, teams that are hot going into March, generally the committee looks favorably upon them. But my problem with that is, okay, if they drop all 3 of these, even if they win out, this team is still going to have to make a run in the Big Ten tournament. And that's what worries me, because especially if you drop all 3, you're not going to have home court. Like, you're not going to be at home. So it's like, this team hasn't performed on the road. I'm worried that they wouldn't be able to make too big of a run in the Big Ten tournament. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if it's another round 1 loss in the Big Ten tournament. And if that, the goal is, before the Big Ten tournament, you want to get locked in to the NCAA tournament. Like, that's what you want. If you're a Husker fan, you want, even if you drop the first round, as a Husker fan, you're hoping, even if you can just get one of these, you should be pretty well locked in to the NCAA tournament, because this would be, especially if you can get Wisconsin at home or Illinois on the road, a ranked win, another ranked win would look really good on the resume, even if you would drop the other 2. So, I don't know.
Yeah, obviously just 3 quad 1 games in a row. It's perfect time that if they can really help build their resume with this next stretch, because in the end of it, you're right. Wins against Michigan, Penn State
aren't going to help.
Yeah, they're not going to help as much as a win over Illinois or a win over Northwestern or a win over Wisconsin. So I agree.
This is like their last shot to get a resume boosting win. Because after this 3-game stretch, it's good, like, it's favorable, but then it's like trap games.
Yeah,
like, you have nothing
you can
to
only
gain.
really go
you
down.
can only go down.
Yeah,
like that. Like, and Nebraska's probably not going to win all of those, because A, there's road games, and B, it's just like, it's really hard to win 6 straight in conference play. Like, it's just tough. So, it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. I'm confident that Nebraska will keep this Wisconsin game close. 1, because it's home, and B, Keisei Tamanaga has been struggling these past few games. I just know he's going to score 28 in this next game. I just have that feeling. But we got to throw it to break. When we come back, we're going to cover the women's basketball team, their game on Saturday, what their thoughts were. We have one of our writers calling in. Make sure to stay tuned in for the next break. You're listening to Day One Nebraskan Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Babe, pack your bags. We're going to Vegas.
Vegas?
We just got the estimate from the wedding caterer, and we're going to have to elope.
Actually, Members Owned Credit Union is offering no-fee home equity lines of credit. We can borrow what we need with equity from the house.
Wait, so we can keep the bacon wrap dates for the cocktail hour?
We can keep the bacon wrap dates. From wedding bells to trekking the globe and everything in between, capture your dreams your way with a no-fee Members Owned Credit Union home equity line of credit. Learn more at membersownedheloc.org. Limitations may apply. Equal housing lender.
Have you been accused of a crime? Is your freedom at stake? At Liberty Law Group, we are committed to the defense of liberty for those accused. Facing the court is stressful, overwhelming, and full of uncertainty. At Liberty Law Group, we believe in treating every person with respect, compassion, and understanding. When legal troubles are keeping you up, trust Liberty Law Group to fight your battles. To learn more, call 877-42-LIBERTY. That's 877-42-LIBERTY.
Nutrition Authority presents Activator. University studies have shown that Activator helps with building muscle and strength while decreasing body fat. Activator is for male and females of all ages who want to look, feel, and perform their best. Activator can only be found in Nutrition Authority. Stop in, call, or visit us at mynutritionauthority.com.
Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Are you in the market for a new garage door or need to repair your old one? It's wintertime, and that means snow, wind, and freezing temperatures. All things that can cause sticky locks and damage to your garage door. If you're experiencing any issues with your commercial or residential garage door during the winter months, call Cameron Hall and his team at Doors Plus. Don't be trapped outside in the cold because of a poorly maintained garage door. Call Doors Plus today at 402-590-5800 or visit them online at doorsplusllc.com. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
'Tis the season to give the gift of good times. Save up to $3,500 on select models or receive promotional financing discounts on qualified vehicle purchases. With deals on KX Youth motorcycles and KFX Youth ATVs, TRX side-by-sides, and more, there's no shortage of savings and good times to be had by the whole crew. Don't miss the 'Tis the Season sales event. Visit Elway Power Sports of Lincoln today. Check them out at elwaypslincoln.com for more detail.
I could write a commercial telling you how great waffle weekends are at the chocolate season. Or I could just have Rico read you the menu.
Banana Nutella. Nutella topped Belgian waffle with homemade whipped cream, chocolate chips, and freshly sliced bananas. Baconator. Buttermilk waffle with bacon slices tucked inside, topped with salted whipped butter, caramelized pecans, and pure maple syrup.
Waffle weekend brunches at the chocolate season.
PB&J.
40th and Old Cheney or online at thechocolateseason.com.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's a great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays, games of bowling, shoe rentals, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
Alcohol has strained our relationship. Drinking too much can cause harm to friends, family members, and loved ones. By drinking less, we will save our relationship. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Attention all Wings fans. 89-cent wings are back on Tuesdays at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Lincoln. Enjoy the best wings in town for boneless or traditional at a price that makes the whole family happy. And now at the Williamsburg Village Wings and Rings, you can enjoy $1.50 tall boys in Bud Light, Coors Light, Busch Light, and Michelob Ultra every day after 7 p.m. and all day on Sundays. Get to Wings and Rings today and make sure to stop by on Tuesdays for 89-cent wings.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hello, and welcome back to the Daily Nebraskan Show on 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. I'm Ben Droz, one of the sports writers at the Daily Nebraskan, still joined by Anthony Rubik and Marissa Cross, two of the assistant sports editors at the Daily Nebraskan. And on the Owl VIP line, we now have Ben Beecham. Ben, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
That's great. Glad you stayed up to call into the show. I know it's a little late, but hang with us. We're still going. We're going to be talking women's basketball. They played Iowa on Saturday. They kept it close. Nebraska kept it close in the first half, but second half, the game really got away from them. Caitlin Clark, once again, got above 30 points. She's actually never scored below 30 points against Nebraska in her college career. She scored 38 points on Saturday. Iowa beats Nebraska 92-73. Ben, can you just give your overall, what was your overall takeaway from that game? What stood out to you?
Yeah, I think this Nebraska team, they have the pieces to beat a team like Iowa.
Yeah.
I mean, this was the biggest stage they played on by far this season, and they've had their struggles on the road. But they were able to score at them at times. But on offense, they did turn over the ball a lot. They had 20 turnovers, which I think is the most they've had all year.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa's playing tough defense. But like in the second quarter and the fourth quarter, they were able to score with them. Even when Caitlin Clark was on in that fourth quarter, they only scored 2 less points than them. So I think when they play here at home next weekend, I think Nebraska could get it done.
Yeah, I mean, home, again, Nebraska, PBA, home, always rocking. Last time Iowa came to Nebraska last year, it was hyped up, really big game. Nebraska kind of fell flat, but I mean, this year, Nebraska looks maybe a little bit better, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, this is Anthony here, Ben. Just kind of looking at the stats for the Huskers. I mean, obviously, you kind of have the usual suspects. Jazz Shelley, 19 points, 5 assists. Alexis Markowski, 17 points, 11 rebounds. Really isn't anyone quite after that really had that big of a game. I guess Callan Hake off the bench. But going forward, when you're talking about this Iowa team and you're saying that they might have a chance against Iowa in a few weeks at PBA, who do you think on this Nebraska team will need to kind of step up alongside Markowski and Shelley?
I think their other 3 starters, Potts, White, and Krul, will have to step up. They only played 14 minutes against Iowa. Callan Hake and Logan Nisley both played more than all 3 of them. And
Wow.
You can't just have starters playing in big games like this. You can't have them playing 14 minutes. Natalie Potts has stepped up in big games. She's only a freshman at home. It will be nice to be at home against a big team like Iowa. Yeah, Darren White has experience. If we want to be able to not turn over the ball, you need an experienced point guard like that against a great team. And you also need that bench production. So Callan Hake was kind of at the forefront for them in that little second half run they had. She hit 2 big threes. Logan Nisley been giving good minutes off the bench all year. So you really need to see a lot more starter production and that bench production if they want to beat Iowa.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Callan Hake, when I was watching the game, I was kind of surprised how much she's being utilized. You know, she's just a sophomore. She didn't get much playing time last year because, you know, Jazz Shelley kind of runs the team at the point guard position. But Alexis Markowski, I was really pleased with how she played, though. I thought she really showed up for them, and she was a big reason why Nebraska was kind of hanging in there in the first half. Can you just kind of talk about how big Markowski has been this year for the women's team, and I mean, just the impact she has on their games?
Yeah, he's their dominant force inside. She's averaging 20 and 10. I think she's close to breaking the double-double record for Nebraska. And yeah, she's kind of like their safety player. She's always going to be on. she's always going to be a reliable at minimum 12, 14 points. She's going to get at least 10 rebounds. Against Iowa, though, she did turn over the ball 7 times. So if they want to beat them next time, she's going to have to stop turning over the ball.
Yeah, turnover seems to be a problem for both the men's and the women's team. Not something just Husker fans can't get away from.
Sure.
And
Go ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Yeah, and just like the men's team, they've also struggled on the road, and they've been great at home. They only have 2 losses at home to ranked Creighton team where Jazz Shelley wasn't 100%, and to a top 15 Indiana team. So they've had their strengths at home. They played well. And I think just being at home against PBA against Iowa just already gives them a chance.
Yeah, so Ben, you've been on the women's basketball beat this year. Can you kind of just talk about covering the team for the first time, kind of just what the experience has been like, working for the DN, covering your first beat? What's it been like?
Yeah, it's been great. It was a little scary at first. I remember my first game was against Crane. I really didn't know what I was doing, but I made it through. And it's been great experience overall. I mean, this team's been pretty successful. They look like a tournament team this year. It's just been great to be able to get the writing experience, the experience at press conferences, just put in the work.
Yeah, definitely. Nebraska, I mean, while the women's team didn't come in this season with as many expectations, they've honestly played just as good, if not better this year than they did last year. When I was covering the team last year, the injury to Allison Winder really set the team back. She was there first month, she got injured, really set them back. This year, she got hurt during the offseason, so they're kind of expecting that. What do you feel like, Markowski, Shelley, those are kind of the big names on the team. Who do you feel like has really been, though, the X factor for the team, like the underlying X factor? Because obviously Markowski and Shelley are probably the most talented, but who's kind of your underlying X factor for this team so far this year?
I think it's Natalie Potts. She's been Big Ten Freshman of the Week a lot. She's stepped up in big games. One game comes to mind is the Georgia Tech game where they came from behind. She was at the forefront for them, and she's always been reliable. I know she only had 5 against Iowa, but I think she's been great for this team. She's been their 3rd best player at times, and she's only a freshman.
Yeah, I mean, Nebraska women's team has definitely gotten production from freshmen a lot in the past, and it's definitely not been any different so far this year. Coming up next, they have Purdue at home on Wednesday. What are kind of your expectations for that game? Do you think they're going to win, lose? What are you kind of expecting in that game?
I think they'll handle business. They've handled business against kind of middle of the pack Big Ten teams at home. They handled Michigan. I think that was their last home game. And Purdue has not had a lot of success. They've had some big blowout losses on the road. I think this team's motivated. I think they can go win these next 3 before Iowa.
Yeah, looking at the Purdue women's basketball schedule right now, they've lost their last 5 games. So definitely a team heading into PBA cold. Expect Nebraska to handle business, but yeah, it's just been a good team so far. Obviously, didn't have the result against Iowa, but I agree with you. I think that, especially seeing Iowa kind of struggle in some road games this year, the Ohio State game, losing in overtime to that, I could definitely see Nebraska hopefully pulling off the upset.
Yeah, so women's team, they have Purdue, Rutgers at home. Like you said, they've really been taking care of business at home. So, I mean, Nebraska, really, Iowa's is honestly the toughest game left on their schedule, but all the other ones look honestly pretty winnable. This team could kind of turn it on as we go down the stretch into the NCAA tournament. Ben, I want to thank you for calling into the show. As always, appreciate it. We're likely to have you on the show again. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, that was Ben Beacom on the Allo VIP wine. So, to wrap up this segment, I was kind of thinking the women's segment maybe take a little bit longer. So now, if we have some time, we can maybe talk some NFL. Just for a little bit. We can talk NFL a little bit because we had some good games on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Chiefs, Ravens played. Ravens didn't play up to par. They were the heavy favorites. Only scored 10 points. Chiefs defense, definitely underrated. This is probably the best Chiefs defense that Patrick Mahomes has had his entire career in Kansas City. On the other end in the NFC, you had the Lions have a huge lead against the 49ers, blow it. Some people blaming Dan Campbell. I don't really understand it, but Lions. I really wanted to see them win. Yeah, I'm a Dolphins fan. I've said that on the show before. I'm a Dolphins fan. Lions fans are the only they are the only people that have it worse than me. Being a Lions fan is just somehow it's worse than being a Dolphins fan. So it's crazy. Lions blow the lead against the 49ers. So now we have a rematch from the Super Bowl a couple years ago. Patrick Mahomes, Brock Purdy, 49ers, Chiefs. Anthony and Marissa, I kind of want to get your thoughts. What were kind of your biggest things you saw, either game, AFC, NFC? I just kind of want to hear your overall takeaways from this weekend.
I know Marissa's a Chiefs fan, so she's
We'll
probably
let
one
you
of
go
the few
first.
people happy about the game on Sunday.
Yeah, I am a Chiefs fan. I grew up in Columbia, Missouri, so always kind of have followed the Chiefs and rooted for them. I know the world is kind of against them right now, but yeah, that was an enjoyable game, I guess, as a Chiefs fan. I was also kind of rooting for Lamar a little bit just because I know him and his team have really been working hard and they've had a fantastic season. So I would have been pretty happy with either outcome, but I don't know. That game was just super competitive. At the fumble in the end zone was that Flowers? I believe that was tough
Zay
to
Flowers.
see. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the Ravens offense was not what they usually are, or their team overall just wasn't what they usually are, which is unfortunate that they I don't really want to say choked, but that they just didn't perform as well as they have in this, high stakes game. And Chiefs continue to have I would say overall pretty good day. Especially Patrick Mahomes, he seems to always kind of clutch up in these type of games with a lot of things on the line. And Travis Kelce continued to play well. Um, yeah, I don't know. It just went their way, and they were just able to hold off the Ravens. It was a really low scoring game. That was also something else too that I noticed. And as far as the Lions, I also like the Lions just with Dan Campbell and their story and stuff. So I was honestly rooting for them as well. But it was also kind of cool to see the 49ers pull it out just with Brock Purdy, his whole Mr. Irrelevant thing, his connection to Chuba. I don't know. There's just a lot of storylines there. So
And a lot of hate he's received on social media.
yeah, for sure. And yeah, I feel like a lot of people on social media are saying like, "Oh, Brock Purdy's the kid that would put his name on the group project even though he didn't do anything." Like, yeah, there's just a lot of stuff with that. But yeah, that was a good game as well. And I feel like most people are rooting for the 49ers.
Yeah, my big takeaway from the game is for the Chiefs-Ravens game, you're right. I completely underestimated the Kansas City Chiefs defense. I mean, they have an absolute stacked unit this year. I think they've never allowed more than 27 points in a game all year, I think. And again, going into this game, I was hyping up Baltimore's defense, thinking that they had this kind of great team, which they did. They have guys like Patrick Queen, Kyle Hamilton, Roquan Smith, but the Chiefs defense really made the Ravens offense switch up their entire game plan. I mean, whether that was just them or coaching from John Harbaugh, but it was just very interesting to see. Obviously, the L'Jarius Sneed punch out on Zay Flowers completely changed the game. And this kind of goes with the Lions game as well, where Chiefs and 49ers both played great games. They've deserved to win those games in the end, but it was also the Ravens and Lions kind of beat themselves, I think. I mean,
yeah, a little bit. Talking
about the Ravens game, obviously the two turnovers in the end zone, the Lamar Jackson interception, the Flowers fumble, they only handed off the ball 8 times the entire game, which is something I don't understand. They were having Lamar Jackson kind of sat in the pocket way too long on some plays. I know that's probably because the Chiefs secondary is locking down the Ravens receivers, but for somebody like Lamar Jackson that can just run the ball like a running back.
Yeah.
I think he's a quarterback. I think he's MVP, but just having that guy, you might want to have him kind of leave the pocket sooner, kind of extend those plays in that way. Then talking about the Lions, obviously it goes to, you think about Dan Campbell going for it on 2 4th downs. And then at the end of the day, that's his philosophy.
Yeah.
He's that kind of coach. I don't blame him for doing that because at the end of the day, those were both two great looks, 2 open receivers on the play. One of them was a Josh Reynolds drop. The other one, Jared Goff just couldn't get the throw there. So they just weren't executed well as the player just weren't executed well by the players.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course you got the miraculous throw, Purdy off a defender's helmet, Ryan's arms of Brandon Ayuk.
Yep.
Something Brock Purdy is only going to get. And then the Jahmyr Gibbs fumble. So I think there were 2 very entertaining games. But at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, I think the 2 best teams, especially throughout this postseason, are playing in the Super Bowl.
So my takeaway from Ravens game was why did the Ravens not run the ball more? You give it to your running backs 8 times. This is the Baltimore Ravens we're talking about. This is a team that they don't care who their running backs are. It could be me in the running back position. They're still going to hand them the ball. They're still going to run the ball 15 times, 20 times in a game. It was just really confusing to me why the running backs weren't involved that much. Gus Edwards is a guy that's been in Baltimore for a really long time. He has a lot of experience. They like him. I don't know why they didn't want to go to him. That was really confusing to me. I feel like that's why they lost. They just, like, the Ravens they didn't play within themselves. They tried to be somebody else. They tried to play like the Chiefs. You're not the Chiefs. You're the Baltimore Ravens. You're a team that runs the ball very effectively, and that allows Lamar Jackson to be more comfortable throwing the ball because, the teams are having to take care of the run. For the Lions 49ers game, I mean, I don't get how you can have a 24-7 lead and then it's the same thing that I see on Twitter. It's like, how do NFL teams just allow kickers to just miss kicks? No, it reminds me of that. It's just this is a professional football team, and they don't know how to manage a game to where they don't blow a 24-7 lead. That's what I don't understand. I don't get it.
Fair.
I get I'm just, a guy from Nebraska that's just, sitting on my couch complaining, but it's like, really Dan Campbell, really Jared Goff, really Jahmyr Gibbs.
Sorry. I was gonna say that I feel like there's been a lot of kickers struggling lately too. I mean, like the Packers.
Yeah.
Kicker, I know, Anthony, you're a Packers fan.
Anders Carlson, man. He could be in the Super Bowl right now if he makes that kick.
maybe. But yeah, I don't know. The Lions just, I don't know. It was disgusting to watch the second half as I was going for the Lions. When I I thought the NFL was rigged. So I had the Ravens 49ers because the logo, the colors, Ravens were supposed to win because they're the bottom color. I thought it was rigged. I guess not. Then when I saw the Chiefs won, I was like, oh, well, it's rigged because now they want Taylor Swift and Eminem against each other. But no, they just wanted Brock Purdy.
I saw
against
one
Patrick
thing.
Mahomes.
It was like the Super Bowl logo, and we look up what Taylor Swift album it was.
I think they said it was Midnights, but I would say Speak Now is closer.
Speak Now, I think. It was the red was for the 49ers, but the purple was for the Taylor Swift album cover for Speak Now. So there we go.
It is rigged. It is rigged. It still lives on. Initially, I wasn't even looking at the colors. I had 49ers winning the Super Bowl. So I'm still, for that game, I have 49ers. I get it's Patrick Mahomes. I get he's Tom Brady now. But 49ers are just so good. They're just such a talented team. I just want to get quick thoughts. Who you guys think is going to win Super Bowl?
Yeah, I think, honestly, the Chiefs right now. I think going out of the games last Sunday, I think the Chiefs overall played the better game. Obviously, only 17 points compared to the 49ers 34, but those are 2 different bowl games. Or not bowl games, 2 different football games.
Yeah.
And again, you just can't count out Patrick Mahomes. I mean, especially with this Chiefs defense, that is probably their best in the last couple years, which is saying a lot for a team that's always in these kind of games.
Mm-hmm.
I like Kansas City over San Francisco.
Marissa, what do you think?
Yeah, I would say Chiefs too. I mean, Patrick obviously has a lot of Super Bowl experience. There's going to be a very different stage for Brock Purdy. He's obviously shown out in these big games lately, but I think Patrick is just going to lead his team over the hump as he's been doing. But 49ers have a lot of good weapons too, like Christian McCaffrey. I feel like he's going to have a big game, and Kittle, like I know in the last Super Bowl, he said he was going to be back, and so he has a little bit extra motivation there. But yeah, I would say Chiefs right now.
Yeah, I mean, one thing we haven't touched on, Patrick Mahomes has been a starter for 6 years in the league. It's crazy. I remember, I feel, I'm 19, but I feel old,
Feels like it
because
was
I just feel
yesterday.
like it was yesterday that Mahomes, when everyone was just raving about Mahomes when we first saw him, but he's been in the league 6 years. Well, he's been a starter 6 years. He's made the AFC Championship every single year as a starter, and he's now 4th Super Bowl. So he's been a starter for 6 years. He's gone to the Super Bowl 4 times, made AFC Championship every time. I mean, that's literally like only other person that was doing that was Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Like, it's no one else. And it's just crazy because, this was like, last year when Tyreek left, everyone was like, oh my gosh, the Chiefs dynasty is done. Everyone was like so happy the Chiefs are going to suck now. They go and win a Super Bowl. Everyone's like, oh, well, now this team is really bad. They lost to the Raiders this year. I was even saying, I was like, this team is not championship, not Super Bowl contender. But yet they still somehow prove everybody wrong. And playing on the road against Buffalo, playing on the road against Baltimore, they somehow still find a way to make the Super Bowl. I mean, it's honestly incredible because this is like the first time in Mahomes' career that he's an underdog. Every single time he's always been, maybe besides like, the first year against Tom Brady, because it was his first year as a starter, he's literally been like the favorite every time. And it's crazy that like people were now finally starting to pick against him this year, but it still doesn't matter. It's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
I think the 49ers, are they a 2.5 favorite right now? think
I
that's what
haven't even
saw.
looked. I would expect the 49ers to be the favorite just because, it's the 49ers. They're the most talented team in football. That's why I picked them in the beginning of the year. Christian McCaffrey, best running back. Trent Williams, best left tackle. Kittle, top 2, top 3 tight end, whatever you want to say. Deebo Samuel is one of the best weapons. Put him in the backfield, slot him out wide. Brandon Ayuk, he kind of had a breakout year last year.
Mhm.
Kept it going this year. Like, it's so talented. And that's only the offense. I haven't even talked about defense with Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, all those guys. So it's just such an incredible team, top to bottom. The only thing they don't have better than the Chiefs, in my opinion, is just the quarterback. Kelsey's maybe a little bit better than Kittle. Chris Jones, maybe the 49ers, Chris Jones, whatever. The only main advantage that the Chiefs have is Patrick Mahomes. Will it be enough to get him over the hump? I don't know. But we got to send it to break. We have one more segment left on the Daily Nebraskan Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this break.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
I'm Karen Carr. I've been a realtor for 31 years. When I made a company change 12 years ago, I chose Lincoln First Realty, now NP Dodge. It's the oldest independently owned realty company in the country. Since becoming NP Dodge, we've continued our tradition of community involvement. Our management and staff are always available to offer support in marketing, technology, social media, and educational opportunities.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Hello, everybody. It's Charlie Stone, and here with me is Andy Goodyear of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, I hear that new Honda manufacturing continues to go up, and you have new Hondas in stock now.
That's correct, Charlie. We have more than 40 new Hondas in stock right now. It's great that a customer can come in and buy a new Honda and drive it home that day. New Honda inventory keeps getting better each month.
Okay, then. How about used cars, Andy?
We have more than 100 pre-owned vehicles to choose from right now, and a lot of fresh trade-ins are coming in daily. We have just about every maker model you can imagine in any price range.
Thanks again, Andy. People love the selection and great service at Honda of Lincoln. Maybe it's time you come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
Liberty Law Group is committed to the defense of your liberty and pursuit of your justice for those that have been injured. My name is Seth Morris, attorney with Liberty Law Group. If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, call 877-42-LIBERTY. Our relentless trial attorneys are committed to the highest quality legal representation. At Liberty Law Group, we will fight for you. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Again, that's 877-42-LIBERTY.
Husker fans, this is Matt Davison with the 1890 Initiative. You've probably heard about NIL, name, image, and likeness, and now you can have an immediate impact on the success of our programs. The 1890 Initiative is Nebraska's premier NIL company, and with your help, we can maximize our student athletes' opportunities with NIL and prepare them for life after college. Nebraska has always been a leader in college athletics. Let's do the same with NIL. To learn more, visit 1890nebraska.com, where 100% of your donation goes directly to Husker student athletes. That's 1890nebraska.com.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's a great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays, games of bowling, shoe rentals, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
Hey guys, Jake Sorensen here from Early Break. The garage door at our house has been needing replacement for a couple years, and a few months ago, we finally did something about it. Steve's Garage Doors and Services was great through the whole process in providing options and also going to the next level to get a door that was approved by our HOA. And best of all, the removal of the old door and installation of the new door was done smoothly with no issues. Call Steve's Garage Doors and Services today at 402-480-2840.
Attention all Wings fans. 89-cent wings are back on Tuesdays at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Lincoln. Enjoy the best wings in town for boneless or traditional at a price that makes the whole family happy. And now at the Williamsburg Village Wings and Rings, you can enjoy $1.50 tall boys in Bud Light, Coors Light, Busch Light, and Michelob Ultra every day after 7 p.m. and all day on Sundays. Get to Wings and Rings today and make sure to stop by on Tuesdays for 89-cent wings.
Are you in the market for a new garage door or need to repair your old one? It's wintertime, and that means snow, wind, and freezing temperatures, all things that can cause sticky locks and damage to your garage door. If you're experiencing any issues with your commercial or residential garage door during the winter months, call Cameron Hall and his team at Doors Plus. Don't be trapped outside in the cold because of a poorly maintained garage door. Call Doors Plus today at 402-590-5800 or visit them online at doorsplusllc.com. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hello and welcome back to the Daily Nebraskan Show. Last segment here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. And if you want to text into the show real quick, we're going to be on for like 5 more minutes. 402-464-5685. We want to hear your thoughts. Text in to the show. So we want to recap. You know, we talked about basketball. Basketball's kind of been the dominant, covered sport. But there's a lot of other Husker athletic sports. Wrestling has kind of been main one. They beat number 21 ranked Wisconsin, 28-9. Do you have anything to say about the wrestling, Anthony?
Yeah, it was just a great showing from them. Obviously, Nebraska, one of the best teams in the country, and they showed that against a ranked Wisconsin team this past weekend. Obviously, you have guys like Brock Hardy and Ridge Lovett who have just always, it seems like all they do is win for Nebraska.
Yep.
Made quick work of their opponents. And then, of course, you have Nash Hutmacher.
Yep.
What a story he has been.
Polar Bear.
He finally picked up his first win over Wisconsin in his Husker career. Who would have thought it would have been on the wrestling mat? But it was a great match. It went
That was a little bit too funny.
It was a great match, high scoring match. I watched highlights of it, which I don't really understand wrestling that much. I never had to report on it. I've never wrestled myself, but it was just very entertaining. Kind of got to see what a big time wrestling match would look like, what a heavyweight bout would look like. And it's just continuing to be a great success story for the Nebraska wrestling team.
Yeah, then Rifle, women's gymnastics, both played. Rifle kind of had a doubleheader against UTEP. They beat UTEP both times. So number 8 ranked Nebraska Rifle team went undefeated this weekend, beat UTEP both times. OC setting records here at Nebraska. I'm pretty sure she set a record in not small bore. I'm forgetting what the other one is. She set a record in one of the events. So I did a profile on OC. So if you want to, DayOneNebraskan.com, search up Cecilia OC. It's like the only profile on OC, so you'll find it real quick. She has a really cool story. She did gymnastics in high school, got hurt, couldn't do gymnastics anymore. She all of a sudden switched to rifle for whatever reason. I don't know what the correlation between gymnastics and rifle was, but she said she got a lot of work ethic and stuff from gymnastics. And then rifle, she kind of always was interested in it, but she really had to work at it because she didn't start that till like her junior year in high school. So all the people have been competing in rifle since junior high or grade school. Even she's so far behind. She had to work really hard. She in the 4-H competitions, I'm pretty sure she got like 8th, if I'm remembering correctly. Walked on here in Nebraska, and she's just been dominant at Nebraska. Women's gymnastics team barely lost to number 10 Michigan. The number 22 Nebraska women's gymnastics team lost 197 to 195. Just 2. Bosque had a really good match. I don't have the stats pulled up if you do, or what event she won, but I know Bosque had a really good game. I also did profile on her. Chenga Bosque, definitely a good story. She qualified for the Olympics for Hungary. She's been phenomenal. She's just a sophomore this year, I believe. It's just been really cool. She competed overseas in Hungary, had to come over a lot. I mean, you may think it's the same, but gymnastics overseas is very, very different from here. They score different. The way, like the moves you have to do, it's all different. So it was a big learning curve for her, but she's just handled it like a champ, and she's been one of the best gymnasts here for Nebraska. What about women's tennis?
Yeah, so I don't have the women's tennis pulled up, but for the men's tennis, they beat Notre Dame at the ITA kickoff. They beat Notre Dame 4-1 on Saturday, but then they lost to Alabama 2-4. But they still had a pretty good showing. Alabama is pretty good, so it's going to be a hard competitor to beat. But they did do well against Notre Dame. There were some good matches. Anton Shep defeated number 51 Enzo Ugard or something like that. So I think that was kind of a big deal. And I just feel like overall good day for them.
Yeah, women's tennis lost to Harvard 4-2 on Sunday. So guess it was good for men's. Women's team fell to Harvard. I feel like there's one we're forgetting. Which one? No. Swimming and diving. Swimming and diving. Nebraska beat Illinois 169-131. Very good showing. There's a swim and dive show. Frankie and Abby, they didn't really talk much about the competition though. So it must have just been like walking the park. Because I literally talked to them on Sunday.
Quick work.
They didn't talk about the match on Saturday at all. So I guess it was just quick work. But other than that, women. But while the basketball teams fell, a lot of the other athletic events keeping up. A lot of them are ranked. Make sure to go check them out. We've been covering some of them. Covered the wrestling team. Wrestling team is definitely one of the more exciting ones. Wrestling team is really good. Make sure to watch them. But with that, that's all we got time for tonight. Thank you for tuning into the Day One Nebraskan Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. We'll be right back here tomorrow, same time, 11 to 12. Joseph Meyer, the senior sports editor, is going to be on with me tomorrow. We are out of here. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Road construction is complete, so there's nothing keeping you from getting into Mullen Motors.
TicketFM.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Road construction is complete, so there's nothing keeping you from getting into Mullen Motors. They can get you into a new vehicle right now and get your 2024 started off the right way. They cleared off their 2023 inventory and have tons of new vehicles to choose from to make sure you get to where you need to be this year. Out with the old and in with the new. Stop by Mullen Motors today, just north of 48th and Layton in Lincoln.
No tagline, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
The Mill Coffee and Tea inside our 93.7 The Ticket studio is now open 7 days a week. From 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays and 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday and Sundays, you can enjoy burritos, cinnamon rolls, fresh brewed coffee, delicious tea, or even their coffee and cream ale. Sold exclusively at the Ticket Mill location. Open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays and 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the weekends, right here at 1040 O Street in downtown Lincoln.
Why are New Year's resolutions always about getting to the gym more or dieting? We fail ourselves before the first month of the year is already over. Why not resolve to eat better, tastier foods in 2024? Look no further than Fuhrer's Cheese Spread. Stop eating your apples, vegetables, crackers, and chips plain. Give them some flavor. Fuhrer's Cheese Spread awakens your taste buds. Now that's how you start a new year. Find your container of Fuhrer's Cheese Spread today at your local grocery store.
I could write a commercial telling you how great waffle weekends are at the chocolate season. Or I could just have Rico read you the menu.
Banana Nutella. Nutella topped Belgian waffle with homemade whipped cream, chocolate chips, and freshly sliced bananas. Baconator. Buttermilk waffle with bacon slices tucked inside, topped with salted whipped butter, caramelized pecans, and pure maple syrup.
Waffle weekend brunches at the chocolate season.
PB&J.
40th and Old Cheney or online at thechocolateseason.com.
Are you searching for a helping hand in life? Look no further. Integrated Behavioral Health Services is your answer. They're your compassionate, trusted partners committed to guiding you from challenges to triumphs. Their licensed professionals offer personalized therapy for individuals, couples, and families. At IBHS, the focus is you. Experience a life-changing transformation in an environment tailored to your unique needs. Visit ibhealthservices.com today and take that first step towards a brighter future. Discover the power of healing with Integrated Behavioral Health Services.